I'm not buying any of this. I think the rumors got too strong, and the Giants didn't like what was being offered because it looked like, well, damn, they're just ready to give away Odell Beckham Jr. We'll give you Jason Whitlock and a bowl of chili for Odell Beckham Jr. And people, and they're like, well, this is silly. So let's now pretend like he's not on the block, and we have no interest in trading him. And then we'll pass along some information to Schlereth's best friend, Adam Schefter, and say that we want 2 first-round draft picks for that, because that's what happened today.
Right.
He's on the trading block. They just want more than that first-round pick they initially said, and they didn't like the offers they were getting.
I think you're right. I mean, the last 48 hours have been pretty, fascinating and dramatic, and it's been great for us in the media to get to talk about it. But I think you're right. I think you're seeing a lot of posturing because don't forget, there is a contract negotiation going on as well if they do decide to keep Odell or they can't move him. What if they don't get that offer? And I felt like the Giants, probably wisely so, took a survey, took a pulse, the temperature of the room, and they said, uh-oh, we got to make sure, because this is a player who's pretty fragile emotionally, right? Pretty immature emotionally, that if you hurt his feelings or you make him, he could not report to camp. He could not be on your squad. You may not have that opportunity. So I feel like they're trying to do some damage control by what they've come out and said today.
I don't think there's any question they floated it out there, the 2 first-rounders, just to see what the reaction would be. So, don't tell me you're not shopping him, and then all of a sudden the information of 2 first-rounders comes out. And just knowing Dave Gettleman, their general manager, Dave Gettleman is an inside-out guy. Like, your periphery players can't make an impact on the game if you can't control what's going on inside. And when you look at the New York Giants, man, they're bereft of talent. Like, they have got to definitely bolster their roster. They've got multiple holes on their roster, and they have got to get better all over the place. So they win 40-whatever% of their games with Odell Beckham Jr. That's good enough not to win 8 games, right? You're good enough. You're good enough to go 7-9. So to me, it's like, are we going to make? Hey, he'll make some spectacular catches. He'll have a few drops, and then he'll get in a fight and he'll propose to a net, and he'll do some stupid things. But the bottom line is, we're not a very good football team with him. And if we can get great value for him, and we've got multiple holes to fill, and we've got the potential of filling those holes by getting rid of him, then it's time to get rid of him. You win football games from the inside out. It's been that way since the inception of the game. It will continue to be that way.
All right, let's circle back then to a conversation we had earlier in the week. Again, so the Giants earlier in the week, it was like, we want a first-round pick and something. Now today, through Adam Schefter, it's, hey, we want 2 first-round picks. Let's go back to, would you trade for Odell Beckham Jr. Let's screw what the Giants want to do. If you're some team out there, would you approach anywhere close to 2 first-round picks for Odell Beckham Jr.? I sure as hell wouldn't.
2 first-rounders? No way. And if the Giants were given that, they better take it so fast, like they better jump all over that. 1 first-rounder, I would. 2 first-rounders is crazy talk. But I do think the Rams, and we talked about this yesterday, being this team that's swinging for the fences, I think it's pretty intriguing. If they're already going all in with this, hey, vocal players, polarizing, guys who might be some distractions, but they're ultra-talented, why not go all in on that philosophy and get a dynamic playmaker by him? But before you make any deal, if you're getting him, you better make sure you have a contract worked out, because you're still going to have that lingering over your head because he still wants to be paid.
I think you look at the Rams, and I think it's intriguing. I think that's interesting. But all the guys they have brought in are on the defensive side of the ball, right? They're going defense. They're in full on that defense with those guys with attitudes. Do you really want to bring a guy in that is a quote-unquote issue, feed me the ball, if I don't get it, I'm going to pout, when you have really a third-year quarterback, but really a second-year quarterback? I mean, he started 7 games as a rookie. Like, I don't know how that dynamic works. Do you feel comfortable? Can Jared Goff operate that situation? Eli Manning had trouble controlling that situation. That guy's a seasoned veteran who won 2 world championships. I don't know that you want to bring that in to your organization if you're the Rams. To answer the question, a first-rounder, I'd think about it. 2 first-rounders, you're crazy.
No. And no one will.
You're ridiculous.
But I think that's what happened. I think the Giants were looking at it and they're saying, hey, maybe he's not as hot as a commodity as we thought, and now they're trying to backtrack, doing some damage control in case he's still in the Giants.
Worse than that, I just think it's a disaster for football. I'm so tired of football apologizing for being violent and dangerous. it's violent and dangerous. If we were in the 1970s, early 80s, or the 60s when Mark played, when no one made any money, I would get it. But now I think we've moved to a place where this is a fair exchange for long-term players. They can make a lot of money for risking their health for 8 to 10 to 12 years. And if you play beyond that, I mean, you really made some money. And so I think it's a fair exchange, and I'm tired of tinkering with the rules and making the game softer. I think fans are. I think fans want to see the train wrecks. And they shouldn't have to apologize for that. And let's quit trying to make the game palatable to people that really don't care about football. And I think most football players have made peace with that. Now, some with their careers end tragically, or they don't make as much money as they should have or whatever, maybe they're bothered by it. But I'm just tired of the tinkering and trying to make the game softer.
I wish the NFL would just say, hey, let's have all the players sign a waiver. You know the risks. We're much more educated now than we were a decade ago about the risk with concussions and CTE. Have them sign a waiver and say, we know the risks. Let's go. Let's move forward and keep the game the same. I will say this, because my initial reaction was this is going to ruin the game. The game's going to look different. But you know where the rule came from? It came from the college game. They're already administering this rule in college.
This sounds worse. The college is about a defenseless receiver.
No, but they have. I've covered games where they had guys, and I remember I was doing a game with A.J. Hawk, linebacker for the Packers, and we're talking about it, and there was an open field tackle. We had a running back and a safety, and they came up in the open field, and they butted heads, and they threw a penalty on it. And A.J. and I were in disbelief. We're like, what is going on? That was a tackle. How can you play football? And it was a penalty on the field. It was this rule. And I will say this. It was called, it was a big deal. We didn't like it. But it didn't ruin college football. You still see pretty much the same product, where I do think they need to clarify this. They need to show the videos of what the hits they're talking about. And they've done it to the coaches already. And when they get the players, I think it won't be as a big a deal as we think it is now. I hope not, at least.
If they implement this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. If they try to implement this, it's just stupidity. You're taking away the violence. You're trying to legislate contact out of a contact sport. This is a collision sport, and I'm 100% with you. There are only 1,500 people in the world that, one, are blessed enough to have the talent to play this game, and two, are stupid enough to play this game. And we go into that understanding what the consequences are. You know you're doing irreparable damage. And for all those people out there in Twittersphere and all those people that want to make excuses for it, listen, the reason they settled $1 billion lawsuit, the reason they settled that was because they lied to NFL players for 20 years on the research. There's malfeasance involved when all of a sudden you settle $1 billion lawsuit, and part of that $1 billion lawsuit is, all this 20 years of research, you guys can't ever see this. We're sealing this 20 years, right? And then we'll settle the lawsuit. Like that, if you really cared about player safety, that would be exposed so that we could have a starting point as we're studying CTE and studying brain damage. But you don't want that out there because it proves to you that you lied to your players and you didn't let them know. So that's why that was settled. But this rule is absolutely asinine. When you start thinking about line of scrimmage play, every play there's helmet to helmet. How about the quarterback sneak? You ever run a quarterback sneak?
Yep.
What do? Everybody on the line hits heads and the quarterback drops back and he tucks his head down and he tries to barrel into the pile. You going to call Tom Brady on a quarterback sneak? Right here. You calling that? You're going to call Tom Brady on a quarterback sneak or Cam Newton? Oh, you guys are out of the game. There's some helmet to helmet on that play. Like, this is stupid. I mean, it's absolutely dumb.
I don't think they're going to call those. I don't think they
will either.
And I think the games would take 5 hours.
Right. And I think the issue here is, hey, you know what? Mom and Pop America, we care. Like, we really care. And that's why.
And maybe I'm talking to the wrong mom and pops, but I think they're trying to please a handful of broadcasters who think it's their job to sit in the booth and to act like they're offended by what's going on the field. And I say, get those people out of football. They've already started the cleanup process at another network, and I'm so glad they did, because I was embarrassed when John Gruden and Sean McDonough called football disgusting. And it was a hard-hitting game between the Steelers and the Bengals, and I was offended by that, and I wanted the league, get those guys away from calling this damn game because they don't understand it. They don't know how to sell it. They don't know how to tell Middle America what this is and defend the game. And so I'm so sick. That's who I think they're trying to please because I think most people, the real football fans, they know what it is. I think the players know what it is. Right. Quit apologizing.
The dumbest statement I've ever heard is we're going to make football safer. It's not a safe game.
Right.
It's a violent game. There are risks in it. The quicker we come to that realization, the better off we'll be.
You want to talk about player safety being your number one priority? Guarantee all the contracts. That way, if I have head trauma, I can sit out and get my head right for a couple of weeks and not worry about losing my job, not worry about losing my paycheck. Because I guarantee you as a player, I mean, I've knocked myself out every game I ever played in. I wasn't taking myself out of a game because I didn't want to lose my job. And give health care. Once you're done playing, you get health care. Because it's not just head trauma. It's, I'll have to have my knee replaced. It's backs. I mean, it's all those things. So you really want to tell me you care about player safety? Let's actually start taking care of our players and our former players who played this game and sacrificed so that this game could be as great as it is.